Hi, and welcome to the U World Order Showcase podcast. Today we are speaking with Allison Henry. Allison is from radiantlifewithallison.com. She's a transformational coach with a focus on mindset and emotional wellness. Welcome to the show, Allison. I'm really excited to learn all about what you're doing and how you're doing it.
Thank you so much for having me.
So tell us your story. How did you get started? Why did you get started?
Yes. So for as long as I can remember, I felt things deeply. I was a deep feeler. And I always had this passion for wanting to help people heal. And so some call it empath, whatever you want to call it. I just did not know how to harness that energy or work with those feelings at all, from a young age. And so I kind of numbed that part of me because I didn't know what to do with it. Um, and so that caused me a lot of anxiety, overwhelm, frustration, confusion, and a lot of mental clutter and chaos. And I so badly just wanted peace. I wanted to just feel calm in my mind, first and foremost, and then in my body. And so I was introduced to essential oils at this point and looking for calm and clarity. And that tool was, I remember my first experience with a bottle of oil, and the aroma, it was lavender. And I just opened that aroma and it hit me. And it was a total unexplainable reaction in my body and primarily in my mind that never stopped moving at a rapid speed before. And I felt this ease, and I just kind of like let it flow through my body, and it was totally unexplainable, but I knew I wanted more. And so I became an avid researcher. I was working in education at this point. I was a teacher. I worked in an urban school district, and I was a coach for teachers. And so I'm a learner at heart. And I went into research more and more, like what was happening in my body? Why was this working? What was there for me? And really used these tools as my ally to help body symptoms, my emotions. And I came to a point then, where the rest of the world kind of also stopped when we had the pandemic. And I realized, like, all of my stressors, when I was working in education and we all went home. And so we were at home and we were quiet, and, it was change. But for me, it was like total peace and quiet, and all of my stressors, the driving to work through traffic, the people, the kids, the chaos, all the stuff just like went to a stop. And I was at home alone, and I realized that I could take away all my external stressors and anxiety causing things, and things that took my time and attention. And then I was left with still an anxious mind and heart. And I was by myself. And so I had this realization, like, you can change your total external environment, but if you don't work on the inner environment, there's still those things, those feelings. And I wasn't calm at all. So everything was removed, and there I was alone by myself, with my thoughts. And I really realized that, like, I was so hard on myself, so belittling, and these thoughts that I had about myself, about my world, about my work, about other people, really were the root of my anxiety, and stealing my calm, stealing my peace, and my radiance, my light. I was so dim, so disconnected, and burnt out. And so I hired a life coach at this point and really started working on the inner workings of my mind, and learning that she said to me one time, "You are a powerful creator." And I said, "No, I'm not." That's not in my control, right? I can't create life. I can't orchestrate what is next for me. Are you kidding me? And so I went through that journey, and um, really looked at being the intentional creator, right? Starting with our thoughts, and then how those thoughts transform our emotions. The thoughts transform our beliefs, even our personality, our mood. Like, it all affects that. The mind is a powerful force, and it drives your brain, it drives your body. And so I had these tools. Now I had a process, and I had a supportive community of coaches and other friends and women that just really nourished in me and helped me to thrive. And so I had a transformation from a fearful educator to a powerful creator. And I just knew that that was my passion. That was my calling. This was my way forward to help other women find that confidence through self-awareness, um, using essential oils and a process, and having a coach, somebody to help guide them to answers that are already within themselves, into their inner radiance, so that it can radiate again. Because I know you would agree that the world could use some more light and love and beauty, radiating from our hearts. So
Kinder,
that's my
better, more
story.
sustainable world. I love your story. I love so many aspects of it, starting with lavender. Lavender is my favorite essential oil. You know that movie, My Big Fat Greek Wedding,
Hmm. Yeah.
and how the dad used to go around with the Windex all the time? My family jokes that lavender is the Windex of my world because I put lavender on everything. I've seen it heal burn victims, like third degree. I have this friend whose husband had a gas tank blow up in his face. His burned his entire body, and she didn't have medical insurance. She just treated him with lavender oil. And this was about 15 years ago now, but you cannot tell that man was ever burned. And we're talking third degree burns. I mean, his skin was gone. That's how powerful
Wow.
essential oils can be. That, just in terms of like calmness and peace, and it has anesthetic properties to it. Just like, who knew this little plant? You just extract the oil and it has it can do amazing things.
Yeah. And I just want to add there that wisdom of like being able to heal that body, that trauma to that physical body, and all as well supporting the mental, the nervous system, and the calming, because how traumatic that is, right? So it just is twofold, and it has so many benefits that we're not even aware of, and we don't need to be. And I love that, because it'll just come in and speak to the body in the way that it needs it. And that's what nature does for us, doesn't it?
It does. You can just put essential oils on your feet at night when you go to sleep, and it'll move to where it's needed in your body, which I thought was fascinating. Is because the nerve endings in your feet go everywhere in your body, and it, yeah, it's just a thing. When you're talking about your mindset shift, I can so relate to that. You would think that if you have total calm all around you, that your mind would be able to be still, but sometimes it can just magnify what's going on in there, and then you don't have anything to blame it on because you're alone. It's just you.
Yeah.
So how was that when you came to that realization?
Yeah, there's resistance, when your mind tries to just blame it, keep blaming, right? Keep finding things. Well, if I just, so then you go to, if I just had more money, and if I just had a new car, or if I just had a new shirt, or a different dog, or all of the things, the mind is just creating the story. And I just had to keep telling myself that I am the creator of that, first and foremost. But there's also, the mindset shift was to look at what the lesson was in the emotion. What was really at the root of my anxiety, of my lack of peace and calm? And it was looking at the story that I was telling myself, um, and the belittling thoughts, learning to talk to myself versus listen to myself. There was this shift of like, I have to just listen to, because I didn't know the difference between my intuitive knowing and my intuition guiding me versus my anxiety telling me to stay small, to stay stuck, or not to do, something moving forward. So it felt very, I mean, anything new, feels unnerving in your body, which is also why you have the grounding tools like nature, walking outside, just moving my body, knowing that that uncomfortability was just natural, also was soothing to go through. And again, having a community, having friends that support you through that was helpful, because it is very unnerving. And the other thought was like, is this ever going to get better? Or is it where, how is this going to be too hard for me to do? And again, just the mind trying to protect you and keep you safe from transitioning into the unknown. And so,
Being an empath impact you with all of this? Because sometimes empaths like take on the emotions of people that are around them, and it's sometimes hard to like sort what's you and what's your environment.
yeah. So creating, I had to work with healers and different modalities to understand and learn to create space between me and an experience or another person. Um, and that was a learning curve for me. Yeah, again, it goes back to the story I was telling myself. Like I would witness somebody feeling frustration, and I'm like, oh, it's something I did, you know? And oh, how could I have changed? So it was always an internal reflection on my part of like, what did I do to cause this? How did I play a role? How could I help them? What's my responsibility here? And I had to learn that like other people are having experiences and that is not mine. And that felt very cruel, not cruel, cold to, step away. But that's how I created space of like, I'm allowing that person to have an experience because that's the lesson and that's what they need to go through and that's what they're feeling. And it's safe. It's safe to feel. But what I wasn't granting myself was the ability to feel either. I was wanting to get out of what I was feeling versus acknowledge and learn from what I was feeling. So I was constantly running, and then I was looking at other people too and doing the same thing because I felt their emotion. So I was like, oh, I have to help you get out of this, or, help you soothe this right away. And so that's where, yeah, just learning that a lot of my anxiety was other people's stuff that I was putting anxious thoughts on my and ruminating in. How do I help them? And how do I get them out of this? Because that's what I was telling myself. How do you get out of this? Versus how do you feel this emotion that's up for you? And people don't want you to fix it, right? And you don't need fixing yourself. But there is wisdom in what's coming up for you. And I do believe it's a message, it's a divine orchestration, a download, or whatever you want to call it, that has a message for you. And when you're ready to receive that, you will. But if I am trying to divert that path, and we do that, right? We do these numbing techniques, or we scroll our phone, and all of that works for a short time. But it's when we get in that long chronic pattern that we just feel disconnected from ourselves and it becomes overwhelming. Um, and so, yeah, that's a little bit how I did that.
Yeah, I can totally relate to that. I spent a lot of my life trying to run from feelings and to numb feelings, and God help anybody who had feelings around me, because I just wanted them to feel better
Mm.
and not feel the feelings that they were feeling or the emotions that they were feeling. And it was hard for me to just accept that sometimes people just need to feel an emotion. They're going to cry. Like my daughter cries sometimes, and I'll ask her, why are you crying? And she'll be, I'm just feeling my feels. She's not upset. She's not mad. She's just having a release. And I I learned that all I have to do is hold her. Sometimes she just needed touch. Sometimes she just needs to be in a room and let the tears flow. It just and it's perfectly fine. She's not mad at me. I have nothing to do with it. She's just her own individual having an experience that's just how she's having the experience at the moment. It'll change in a few hours. And like I said, it has nothing to do with being upset or angry. It's just she's having an experience. And it was so unusual.
Yeah, and when you make feelings like I didn't, they were too overwhelming. I numbed feeling the lower vibrational feelings, but that and that was how I was managing it. But that also disconnected me from other feelings like joy or happiness. And so when you turn it off, you're you're not able to even access feelings that you do look for. Like, why can't I feel happy? Well, I'm not feeling anything because now I'm not learned, I hadn't learned how to regulate or how to move through and allow, as you said, your daughter, just allowing that energy to just move. It just gets stored, gets stuck, and then stays there until it's transmuted or moves through. And that
Or
is
turns
where,
into disease, because often it
yeah,
does turn into disease in your body.
yeah. And, looking back, at first I was fixing or using essential oils for gut health. And I know now, looking back over my trajectory of being an anxious child, avoiding tests or um, interactions with peers at school in middle school, going to the nurse to go home because I had a bellyache all of the time. I remember being a college student or, into my adulthood of like avoiding because I had a stomach issue or irritable bowel syndrome, they call it, or, whatever they titled it. And that was, I mean, all linked to this mindset of really just fearing, can I handle it? That was at the root. Felt like, can I handle this? Can I handle feeling? Can I handle this interaction? Can I handle this job that I'm doing? And then stepping into this role of entrepreneurship and coaching, it's like, can I handle creating a new way forward that is totally unlike anything I was recently doing or trained to do as an educator and as a teacher in school. So, I mean, obviously skills transfer over, but it was like this, you know, can I handle this? And so I guess also looking back, it's like no matter what comes up, there are going to be fears and anxieties that meet you, and because we are here to grow and expand. And so if you are a human in this human skin suit expanding and growing, like fear is natural and normal. And so what I've also seen and felt in my body is that the more that I feel the fear, the more I can feel joy. And the more I push away from fear and not feel my feelings, then I also can't feel, I'm not happy either. I'm not feeling able to even mask it and for very long, right? For very long. So
Here's an interesting thing in terms of feeling it, but being able to move through it and not getting stuck in emotions. Like there are people that actually even get stuck in like the joy emotion, and they're kind of it's kind of weird to be around them because there's emotions have a balance in them, and I kind of feel like they getting stuck in emotions. It helps if you have the tools to move through them. And I know that you are a coach, that you help people with this. How does that work with you?
yeah, so it's right now I'm coaching one-on-one
Mhm.
using a simple proven process that I was introduced to, and it transformed my world. And so I got certified in the essential emotions coaching process, and this simple proven process is really, and um, it's it's so simple, and yet like there's just guiding questions, and I hold a sacred safe space for people to um meander down the river, like down the path of the unknown, of just like they know something is up for them, right? Either a strong emotion or some body symptom that is not going away that they want to explore a deeper root to. And so I have a process of guiding questions, and I use my intuition to guide them into discovering the root, right? What's at the root. And then as we process that, we pair with an oil. So the essential oil is then paired with to help, because oils are chemistry and they offer a new insight. They offer new wisdom to us as we take in their aroma. So, and each and every single essential oil has an emotional benefit. So, peppermint is the oil of a buoyant heart, right? And so they all have cedarwood is the oil of community. And so we pair an oil based on what the person is wanting to feel less of or feel more of. And that aroma invites a deeper understanding. And what I love is that it's not only like you're not consciously perhaps aware of why this is bugging you or why this is here for you, but the oil comes in and it's able to give you that new insight or that download in such a simple way. And they're so gentle in the fact that like whatever is ready to come out and to be released will be released, not like a fire hose of, whatever you're not ready for or overwhelming, but just in such a gentle release. And so then after that is processed and released, we look at filling up that space. So once we create the space, we want to bring in new thoughts. So through the form of creating affirmations, using visualization, meditation, breath, and the oil to be able to fill that space with a new experience, a new thought. And the oil helps to the aromatics of it. We call it aromatic anchoring. You anchor to this aroma. You anchor this new awareness to an aroma. So every time you sense that aroma, you're going to come back to this moment in time as you're recreating this empowerment statement, right? This new feeling that you're wanting to feel more of. And so it's really beautiful how it unfolds. Every session is unique, but there's, like this such a feminine process of this river flowing in this masculine container of like, if you imagine a river flowing with the river bank holding it, that masculine, like there's the process, but then I just let my intuitive guidance lead me and, the client. And so at the end of it, then we wrap it up with gratitude and compassion, such grace for yourself and what you're learning about yourself. And then we make a plan to move forward. So how will you nourish this new awareness? What self-care habits will you take on? And so we leave with a plan of action and also what could get in the way, right? Some tips of like, if judgment comes up or my schedule, my kids, whatever might get in the way of me sticking true to this new belief that I'm building, this new emotion I'm connecting to, we do some problem solving around that. So, yeah, the client gets as they're rewiring new neural pathways with aroma and the affirmation and practice, then we check in afterwards and have some more sessions if it feels necessary. Yeah, that's the process. And then it is so simple that the client has the tools with them, the aroma, the oils, and then there's a worksheet and also a book of all the emotional properties of the oils so that they can implement this. And that's really key because it's starting to build like a mind management lifestyle, right? So like we do exercises for all the, for our body, for muscle, we take supplements in the morning, whatever type of routine that we're in. And this is a process that not only they can work with me on and go deep, but then once they've learned it, they can also go home and apply it on a regular basis in a more compact, right? The steps can fit into a 5 to 10 minute time to nourish their emotional well-being ongoing as part of their lifestyle.
And when you start to nourish your own well-being, it impacts everybody around you because you're no longer being this either emotional vacuum where you're sucking everybody else's emotions away from them or emoting in inappropriate ways. When you can take control of them, it just gives permission to others around you to be able to have a better relationship with you. It's amazing the impact that such a simple process can make on people.
Yeah.
I know that you have some things that you give away to people. You want to talk about those a little bit?
Yeah, absolutely. So on my website, theradiantlifeofallison.com, there are two choices for freebies, giveaway gifts from me. One is a meditation that I do myself in the morning time or before bed just to connect to my inner peace, as I said, as a daily practice that you can download. And then also a 5 steps for radiant energy, because it takes energy to do this work. And so just really like my 5 tips of how daily I keep my energy high and move from lower vibrational energies to a higher vibe, because we're not always in the high vibe state, but we can access it through these 5 steps. So that's for free gift on my website.
That is awesome. I'm looking forward to reading them myself
Yeah.
and listening to the meditation. Is there one thing that you'd like to leave the audience with today?
Yeah, I just pass on that you are a powerful creator, just as I had heard, and you may have the same reaction to it as I did of like, no, I'm not, that resistance. But I offer you to get curious about that. Do some journaling, just ask yourself what the resistance is in that, and know that um, things are created twice, right? Things are created first in the mind and then in physical form. So what you are creating here, what you're thinking, what you're telling yourself daily is creating your external world. And so if, once you take that on and as a mindset shift, doors will open, opportunities, people will drop into your world that are there to support you in moving through, and the hows will come. You don't need to know how that's going to move forward, for you. Um, but yeah, just know that you are a powerful creator. You are whole as you are. There's nothing wrong with you, and you are loved. And if I could be a guide with you, if you align to my message or to my story, then please feel free to reach out, because I would be happy to support you and guide you on this path.
Awesome. Thank you so much for joining us today, Allison. And we'll be sure and put those links in the show notes below so people can get in touch with you. Really appreciate you joining me.
Thank you so much.